Right, Shalom Akim, Kahalayim La, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rahakudash, and double honors to the great and apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone. Thadi Al, Thadi Afshai for the strength and all to make this video, and Yaratazar they find it edifying and exhorting as well. Yaratazar, this will be a short one because really it's just an update on this Neuralink chip, which aka is known as the Mark of the Beast, as we all know from Revelation 13, verse 16 to 18. So I'm gonna play this video. As I named this video, Esau is introducing telepathy, which I believe this was one of the intentions, either early this year or 2025 when they made that Neuralink update. They said in the future they named one of their programs for the chip called telepathy, and you're gonna see what it means here as well. So Esau through his technology, she's trying to be like the Most High. And we're seeing progress here. Well, I say we're seeing progress, but really Esau is making fast progress with every update of these videos as well. I might do another part as well because they released a new one recently. I feel it was either yesterday or today, but yeah, let me play this video.
Through our clinical trials, we've been working really hard to give the world a brain-computer interface-powered wheelchair.
It's designed for anyone with trouble controlling their will.
Through our clinical trials, we've been working really hard to give the world a brain-computer interface-powered wheelchair.
It's designed for anyone with trouble controlling their wheelchair physically by translating their neural signals so they can control the wheelchair with their mind.
What we've done here is we've developed a set of custom electronics to take cursor movements from a participant's imagined motions, translate them into analog signals, and use them to directly drive and control all the functionalities of the wheelchair.
This is the wheelchair control app, and we built a custom UI for our users. I can now move my cursor up, slowly move the wheelchair forward, or turn it to the side, left or right. And as I get more and more into the ring, it'll go faster and faster. Really, we built this system with safety in mind. As you can see here, if I let go, the cursor is slowly going back to the center. So that way, if a user ever becomes incapacitated, they won't go driving directly into a wall. The cursor will allow them to go back to the center here.
In the beginning, driving the wheelchair with my Neuralink, it was a little stop and go. But after a few minutes, it became kind of second nature. The difference between operating my wheelchair via the Neuralink and joystick. The joystick, it requires my head to be hunched over, and it hurts tremendously. Driving the wheelchair with my Neuralink, I can be in an upright position that is a good posture without being in a state where I'm in pain. It's very rewarding and satisfying.
We built this from the ground up to provide a completely new interface for controlling a wheelchair. And we believe that this is just the start of helping restore mobility to everyone who's lost it.
Yep, so really all of these updates are just forms of marketing, just to get people's attention on it. And of course to sell the intention of not just, convenience being the main word, but also helping the disabled. Because this type of technology, they're using it to say, okay, they can heal quadriplegics. Obviously, another word is tetraplegics as well, which is really just paralysis with the full limbs, including the torso, which is the chest area, chest and belly area. So really, that's how they're going to sell it. They're going to sell it first with the disabled. Then they're going to try and make it look cool, with the young ones. And eventually they'll probably say with old people as well. And from old people will just be a usual thing in the MOTB system in Esau society. So let me get this precept out. This is Revelation 13 and verse 13. It says, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven in the earth in the sight of men. I read this is talking about, Esau, Edom, under the, of course, really under the beast system, but because it is a man that controls the system. So really, just to get to the point, it is Esau, Edom. He doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire with his bombings, his well, he has nuclear missiles now. Before it was like atomic bombs. There was a progression to Esau's sword, his weapons of mass destruction. So he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. And that's reference to the time of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the bombing, which was made 1945, the ending of World War II. So that was a major time for the whole earth, man, when they witnessed that happen. Hence why it says on the earth in the sight of men. So that's what made people also fear Esau, man. So verse 14, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles, which of course that bringing fire from heaven is another form of miracle, but also through its technology, people will see it as miracles too. So again, aka this chip implant, this Neuralink implant will be used as a miracle in order to woo the people into taking it. So it says here, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles, but he will only be able to deceive those who don't know, who don't have the understanding of these scriptures, especially these ones that I'm reading right now, based on the MOTB. Only those of whom have no understanding or have no fear of Yahweh Shemeshah fundamentally will be the ones to take the mark or to be swayed, influenced by those miracles. For example, him being able to allow someone to that's pretty much what it is, telepathically control which is via their mind, control their wheelchair. That's going to be seen as a miracle, because that guy on a wheelchair, not being able to move his limbs, some form of a quadriplegia or, ALS, which ALS is just a neurodegenerative disease where, the neurons, it's like they start to die out slowly as the person grows. But nevertheless, the point is that with these conditions, Esau's made it where just by them thinking a thought, they're able to move the wheelchair whatever direction that they want to go to. And to prove that Esau wants to be like the Most High, that same idea has a root in the scriptures. But first, before I get that, let me get this. Isaiah 14:14, I will ascend. So referring to Esau, Edom, these wicked Edomites, the ones who want to be in rulership via their technology. It says, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. So that's his ambition. He wants to be a God. Yet thou shalt be brought down to the hell, to a destructive state of mind, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms? Because that's how low he's going to be in Yahushua's kingdom, in the kingdom of Israel. We're going to be looking, he is going to be looking at him like, is this really the person who took over? Because that's how low the Most High is going to put him. So yeah, he says he wants to be like the Most High. It says in verse 14, because the way Yahweh Shemeshah created chariot movements was via mind control. Because the way the angels control the chariots is via thoughts. And I'll prove it here. From verse 19, it says, Ezekiel 1:19, and when the living creatures went, the wheels went with them, went by them. So the wheels represent the chariot, the so-called UFO or UAP, unidentified anomalous phenomenon. It used to be called an unidentified aerial phenomenon, but right now it's anomalous. But that's what it stands for, anomalous phenomenon, UAP. So, and then the living creatures represent the angels. So it says, and the living creatures went, the wheels went by them. And when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up. Whithersoever the spirit was to go, they went. Thither was their spirit to go. The wheels were lifted up over against them. For the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. It says, when those went, these went. When those stood, these stood. And when those were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up over against them. For the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels, which means wherever the angels thought for the chariot, the UFO, to move, it went. Why do you think that when the with all these chariot sightings that that Esau releases, or and these are other websites as well that that host those chariot sightings, those UFO sightings, which really to us they identified flying objects, because we know that it's the angels of Yahweh Shem Yoshai within those vehicles of the heavens. Anyways, but why do you think that the UFOs they move in an absurd way, which means they could be going, let's say a random number, I don't know, 100 kilometers or 120 kilometers. I don't know about the measurements, but let's say, how does it go? Is it per mile or per hour? I'm not even sure. But yeah, whatever. The point is, they could be going at hyper speed and then just stop at an instant. And then after stopping at an instant, it could literally just go like a 90-degree angle. It could be going hyper speed and then stop and then just go to the right or to the left, because they operate based on where the angel intends it to go. If the angel intends it to go to the left, it will go to the left. If it goes to the right, it goes to the right. So it's based on the spirit, where the spirit intends for it to go. So that, which means the chariot is in sync with the spirit of that angel. These verses prove that. Now, the reason why I was mentioning that was because of the fact that Esau wants to be like the Most High, and him with his telepathy object, through the Neuralink implant, he's trying to do that. Let me replay the video.
All the functionalities of the wheelchair.
This is the wheelchair control app, and we built a custom UI for our users. I can now move my cursor up, slowly move the wheelchair forward, or turn to the side, left or right. And as I get more and more into the ring, it'll go faster and faster. Really, we built this system with safety in mind. As you can see here, if I let go, the cursor is slowly going back to the center. So that way, if a user ever becomes incapacitated, they won't go driving directly into a wall. The cursor will allow them to go back to the center here.
In the beginning, driving the wheelchair with my Neuralink, it was a little stop and go. But after a few minutes, it became kind of second nature. The difference between operating my wheelchair via the Neuralink and joystick, the joystick, it requires my head to be hunched over, and it hurts tremendously. Driving the wheelchair with my Neuralink, I can be in an upright position that is a good posture without being in a state where I'm in.
So that's really the point. But you can see what I mean now. The connection. Yahara to Zoe, you can see what I mean, because as I said, the same with the Most High programmed our chariots, the vehicles of the heavens, work, which is really being in sync with your spirit. Wherever your mind intends it to go, it will follow where your intention is. It's the same way Esau's programmed that same algorithm, I'll call it, or way, or that same concept into this chip implant. Hence telepathy, because you're using your mind to control the object, and Esau's achieving that via his technology. So again, he wants to be a god, and he's gonna try his best to achieve that with this mark of the beast system as well. So all of this is just a build up, those early phases in the movie before everything just goes down, to utter destruction. This is it. This is just a build up. So anyways, let me get a few more presets, and I'm gonna close it out. Alright, this is Psalm 64 and verse 6. They search out iniquities, they accomplish a diligent search. For them to achieve this, first of all, the Most High would have blessed them with that wisdom to be able to develop the technology to accomplish, for scripture's sake, for prophecy's sake, so that the word of the Most High be fulfilled. So he gave them the intelligence to create this technology. So they accomplished a diligent search, studying the brain, studying how the brain could be connected with technology, to achieve the outcome intended, which again is that mark of the beast system. So both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. The mind is deep, man. They go detail upon detail. Nanoparticles in the air as well. It goes far, when you get into chemtrails and all that. But yeah, let me get another preset, final preset, and I'm gonna close it out. Ecclesiasticus 12 and verse 10. And never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, that humbling himself is the cover. Him saying it's for convenience, it's for solving people's disabilities. That's the humble. That's the cover. You know, him trying to humble himself. Yeah, it's a good deed. No, it's not a good deed. Because at the end of the day, especially for Israelites, specifically for Israelites, you know, you're offending and you're rejecting Yahweh Shem Yashai by taking that mark. Hence why you got to reject it in that day and you pray for strength to endure through whatever you got to endure through, in spite of Esau's weak threats. Because again, he's going to use so-called necessities, you know, to threaten people. But if you know that, if your faith is true in Yahweh Shem Yashai, you know that you're going to be looked after nevertheless of whatever he says, Esau says, as a threat. So yeah, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away, which means you're going to realize that that wickedness is still there, even if you try to wipe it. You know, Esau's nature is always going to be, it's always going to be shown somehow, some way. So I'll leave it at that. You know, that was from the Neuralink video. And yeah, man, you know, they're making progress. They're making progress, man. So prophecy is speaking. You know, this really should be as a exaltation, you know, encouragement, because it means each time he's making progress, we're getting closer and closer to salvation, to Yahushua's kingdom and Yaratazar, that we do. You know, we are those elect men of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. We are the elect of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. So I'll leave it at that. You know, the message is simple. He wants to be like a god, and he's gonna use technology to be like that. I'm talking about Esau Edom. So yeah, Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, Barakatah.